Martha Teichner this morning is taking us on a colorful journey to Old Havana for a preview of the new Broadway musical, Buena Vista Social Club.
Remember Buena Vista Social Club, the album? Even if you don't. Now there's Buena Vista Social Club, the musical. An exuberant blast from the past. Old Cuban music for a new audience.
There is a music studio in Old Havana.
The Broadway version is a stand-in for the city's corroded grandeur, and for the studio, where in 1996, a group of old, mostly forgotten Cuban musicians recorded the album.
What follows is the story of a band. Not ours, though we will do our best. Some of what follows is true. Some of it only feels true.
The true part. The real person this actor is playing. Juan de Marcos González. Look, there he is during rehearsals. Juan de Marcos had already located and brought together the old musicians before music producers Ry Cooder and Nick Gold showed up in Havana. When their plan to make an album pairing Cuban and West African performers fell through, they went with Plan B and recorded with the group Juan de Marcos had assembled.
I was so happy because they were my idols. I grew up, listening to their music, and then suddenly I was the band leader.
Did any of the people involved, including you, have any idea that what became Buena Vista Social Club would be something big?
No. They became pop stars. It was like an unbelievable thing.
The unexpected and irresistible phenomenon that resulted is the subject of the Oscar-nominated 1999 Wim Wenders documentary.
Well, it was just ubiquitous. I mean, you would hear this music everywhere.
Music journalist Judy Cantor-Navas is a Substack contributor and the author of Cuba on Record.
To say that, yes, we're listening to this old Cuban music that is suddenly selling millions of albums seemed like something that was very unlikely.
Why do you think people love the music so much?
I think not only this, but Cuban music has really appealed to so many different kinds of people. They say that it has, the perfect combination of the Afro-Cuban rhythms and the Spanish melodies that came together in Cuba. It's just this very infectious music that gets in your soul.
It wasn't just the music they loved. It was who the musicians were, the improbable last act of their careers. The album won a Grammy and has sold more than 8 million copies worldwide.
And they were so happy, because they came back to the stage. Because if you're a musician and you are an artist, you are always an artist, And even when you're retired, you have this small candle in your heart.
Omar Portuondo was 67. Ibrahim Ferrer was 70. Other band members were as old as 90. They began touring the world. No quiero. Even singing to me for a Sunday Morning story 25 years ago. I still have to pinch myself to make sure I'm not asleep and dreaming, Ferrer says. I never thought I'd have so much success. The play tells the imagined origin story of the musicians, of their careers, their personal struggles.
but I know how this story goes.
with hints
Somehow
of
the
romance,
same people
decades
always end up
before
being
their
left
fame
behind.
late in life.
What's this place called?
The Buena Vista Social Club.
I'm Cuban American. I was born and raised in Miami, but my parents and my family's Cuban. And so for me, what brought me to this was the music. It was music that I was raised around my entire life.
Marco Ramirez wrote the Broadway show. He was 14 when the album came out.
This is a moment of intense pride, of us realizing that the world cared about our music and that these songs that I was used to hearing on my grandfather's little yellow Sony boombox above the washing machine, these were songs that suddenly the whole world cared about. That meant everything to me.
I guess I just dreamed that one day with the right record, we might remind the world that Mozart has got nothing on us.
And I was just obsessed with this album. I kept listening to it on repeat. Something about the lyrics spoke to me. I learned the lyrics without knowing what I was talking about, because Swahili is my first language.
This was in Kenya, where Saheem Ali, the director of the show, grew up. His father, an airline pilot, brought the album home.
I knew nothing about their stories, absolutely nothing. The first time I knew about the stories was reading Marco's script. That's what excited me about this musical. People are going to know about them now in a way that young people like me never had a chance to.
Brought to life on a Broadway stage. The old songs as they were played in the 1940s and 50s at the actual Buena Vista Social Club, a members-only Havana nightclub for working-class black Cubans. It was shut down after Fidel Castro came to power in 1959. The events of the Cuban Revolution lurk at the edges of the show.
It's not your fault the world made us take sides. Until one day, there were only two types of Cubans. Those who stayed and those who left.
Playing yesterday's Cuban music on Broadway, some of today's finest Cuban musicians, most of whom now live outside Cuba, because making a living there is tough.
The people are going to see the real Cuba. They are going to get a piece of our country when they attend the musical. We have nothing in our country. We don't have oil, we don't have gold, but we have the music, beautiful ladies, good coffee, the best cigars, and the best rum. That's what, and the music, which is the most important thing, like food for us.
Served up on Broadway, a feast.